Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. U's Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the new film, Dune. This film follows Paul Atreides, who is a part of House Atreides, and this family has been entrusted with the planet Arrakis, with a very valuable resource called spice. And as a result, we see Paul and his family, as well as the threats that they have to face, having been entrusted with Arrakis. First of all, this film has such a star-studded cast with Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, and many more. I could talk, just many minutes about all the different actors in this film because it's such a great cast. If I had to choose, standouts, it would probably be Jason Momoa and Rebecca Ferguson. But all the actors deliver great performances, and it's just crazy to see how far Timothée Chalamet has come, because he's the leading man here. He's the main character, and just seeing him through the years become a rising star, it's great to see him in such a grand role, and it just gets me excited for the sequel, as the director has been talking about, because that's his plan. Because there's many actors here that aren't necessarily in it too much, like Zendaya, but it's very obvious that certain actors are going to have much grander roles in the sequel, and this was such a great introduction to all these different characters, and I appreciate how the film took its time to really develop a lot of them so that we're kind of ready for the second part. But overall, all the actors give strong performances. Now, this film was directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is, he really built himself as one of the best directors working today, with films such as Prisoners, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and more. And what better, choice to direct this film than him? Because it has been said that this novel, that the film is based on, it's been deemed like unfilmable and everything, but Villeneuve really gave it his all, and he really put the grand scope of this novel on screen so beautifully. The directing is so good that walking out of the film, I felt like I was just kind of going through a portal back into the real world again. It's such an immersive film through its directing and many other aspects that I'll get into, but it's such a great choice for directing here. And everything is just shot meticulously through his direction, and I think he really did a spectacular job here. Now let's talk about the story of this film, and just the story and the way that the film is presented is very much like a slow burn, very akin to Villeneuve's past films such as Blade Runner 2049. It's a film that lets you soak in the world before it gets to the story. And I thought the story overall was intriguing. I was interested to see just how the Atreides family and Paul specifically, how they're gonna manage all these issues and certain enemies that are coming into the planet, because maybe certain people held control of the planet earlier, and then there's actual indigenous people there, that are from there, from Arrakis. And I was just intrigued throughout in watching his story and everything. I think the one thing that could have been improved though is just the fact that, just the point where the film ends off on. It's very obvious hearing what the director has said and seeing how this film is basically called Dune Part 1 when you watch the film. It was very obvious that it's going to be just like part 1 out of a 2-part series. But I felt like, they could have ended it off either a little earlier or a little later. Certain confrontation happens, and then within like a few scenes the film kind of ends, and it's like, okay, I'm excited for the next film, but they could have chosen maybe a better point to end the film off on. But I understand why it's going to be 2 parts, because this is such a grand world with a grand story from what I've heard. So overall, the story was very well presented. I just thought maybe, the ending point of the film could have been maybe chosen a little differently. Also, the technical aspects of this film really make this movie just such a masterclass in world building. Let's first talk about the cinematography, which is especially beautiful. You feel like you're a part of the world as a result of all these just beautiful shots to look at. You feel like if you could just pause the movie and just take that shot that you're seeing, you could just frame it somewhere and it would come up as like a piece of art. And then the production design and the costume design also really bring you into this world. It is so well done. And of course, Hans Zimmer's score just exudes this epicness, which very much is, it complements the epic scope of the film itself. So all these little technical aspects really make this such an immersive film that really is masterful in its world building. Overall, I found Dune to be an epic sci-fi film crafted by one of the best directors working today, Denis Villeneuve. Just through all the performances in the film, they were just all so strong, and through the directing and story and cinematography and many more technical aspects, this is such an immersive film that really invests you in this grand world, and I'm excited to see what they do in this sequel, as that's what the director is planning right now. The one thing that I think could have been improved is just where the film ends off. You know, of course the director wants you to be excited for the sequel, seeing how the story will end that has really been, you know, building up throughout this film. But I think, you know, the filmmakers could have chosen just a better ending off point. It felt like a little random, and right when we were excited to see what's next, the film just kind of ends, which is what the director might have been going for, to be excited for the sequel. But I still think, you know, there's a difference between making it a little unsatisfying and getting you excited, and I was a little unsatisfied with just the point that the film ended on. But other than that, this, as I say again, is a masterclass in world building. I give Dune an A-. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, don't forget your popcorn. Until next time, from Mr. U to you, stay tuned.